This is Spain, Europe's fourth largest country with a population of around 48 million. But despite these numbers, nearly 70% of Spain is empty. More than 80% of Spain's population resides in Madrid and these red highlighted coastal areas, while the yellow highlighted area in between is very sparsely populated. This means that approximately 40 million people live in only 30% of Spain's entire land, despite the fact that Spain is a country with exceptional climate and geography. It has beaches, dense forests, mountains, and deserts. But still, why is the population concentrated only in this small area? Now, it's not that the yellow highlighted area has always been uninhabited. Some years ago, many people lived there, but now if you go to the central and northern parts, you'll find abandoned villages with empty houses and buildings because no one lives there anymore. What exactly happened to Spain? The answer lies in Spain's history, politics, geography, and some social factors. In today's video, we'll explore some of the unheard facts about Spain. So, let's go back thousands of years when this entire area of Iberia was under the control of the Roman Empire and was called Hispania. At that time, the Roman Empire stretched from northern Africa and Europe to the northern Middle East, and it was proving to be very expensive and difficult for Roman rulers to maintain control. Therefore, they divided the Roman Empire into two parts. The eastern part became the Byzantine Empire, and the western part became the Western Roman Empire. However, after this division, the Western Roman Empire started to weaken as Germanic tribes from Western Europe began attacking the Roman Empire. Eventually, in the 5th century, the Western Roman Empire collapsed, and the entire area of Iberia came under the control of a Germanic tribe called the Visigoths, who ruled there for about 250 years. But their control was temporary because soon, a new empire from the centre of Arabia was going to emerge and take control of this entire area. In the 8th century, during the Umayyad Caliphate, the Muslim Empire was at its peak. Its domain stretched from northern India to the Middle East and northern Africa. To expand it further, in 711 AD, the Muslim armies under the leadership of Tariq bin Ziyad launched an attack on Spain and conquered it. Hispania was renamed as Al-Andalus, and Muslims ruled over Spain for the next 800 years. During these 800 years, there were some developments in science, philosophy, and architecture. However, the Muslim Empire faced continuous resistance from Christian forces known as the Reconquista. Reconquista refers to the battles fought over several centuries by Christian empires to oust Muslims from Spain. Finally, in the late 14th century, in the Battle of Granada, Christian armies defeated Muslim forces and reclaimed control of Spain. From this point on, Spain emerged as a major colonial superpower. In the early 19th century, the Spanish Empire extended across the entire American continent, from California to Argentina, and even included the Philippines in Asia. However, over time, the Spanish Empire began to decline, and by the early 1900s, it had shrunk from 13 million square kilometres to just around 500,000 square kilometres. Then in the 1930s, a bloody civil war broke out in Spain, which ended in 1939 when, under the leadership of General Francisco Franco, the nationalist forces emerged victorious in the war, and Franco became the ruler of Spain for the next 30 years. And this 30-year duration is considered the darkest era in Spain's modern history. In this civil war, 5 million people were killed, and the Spanish economy literally collapsed. The protectionist policies of General Franco further exacerbated this situation. It was a time when more than half of Spain's population lived in rural areas and was mostly engaged in agriculture. Franco closed borders to protect the local industry and completely halted imports, leading to Spain being cut off from the international trade. Due to this, farmers had no access to new machinery, pesticides, or other technologies to increase their production. In addition to this, the government also placed strict price controls. As a result, the agricultural industry began to collapse, prompting many people to leave rural areas and move towards cities or other countries. By the end of the 1950s, Franco began to realise the flaws in his policies and gradually started opening borders for international trade, and this led to the beginning of the Spanish economic miracle. As a result of opening of borders, two things happened. One, trade began with France, Germany, and England, leading to an increase in economic activity. Two, all major economic activities were concentrated in Spain's major cities, and all big corporations were set up in urban areas. Now, wherever there are companies, there are jobs, and where there are jobs, people migrate there. This exactly happened in Spain. Initially, due to the collapse of the agricultural industry, people left rural areas, and now, due to good opportunities in cities, people were leaving central areas and moving to larger cities which were mostly located along Spain's coastlines. So history and political decisions are one reason for this population population pattern in Spain. The second reason is Spain's geography. Spain is a very mountainous country. It is the second most mountainous country in Europe. There are 6 mountain ranges here. In the south, there is the Baitic range. In the centre are the Iberian and Central ranges. On the northern side are the Cantabrian and Leon ranges. And in the northeast, along the border with France and Andorra, there is the Pyrenees mountain range. The northern side of Spain is lush green, while the southern side has deserts, where temperatures are the highest in all of Europe. In recent years, climate change has had a significant impact on Spain. According to the United Nations, 74% of Spain is in the process of desertification, which means that 18% of Spain's area could become desert permanently. Due to the lack of proper water facilities in rural areas, many people are leaving these areas for cities. Similarly, if we look at the emptiest region of Spain, it is the area in the north called Spanish Lapland, or Serrania Celtiberica. This area is even larger than countries like Denmark and Croatia. The main reason for the low population here is these mountain ranges, which make construction and building railroad networks very difficult and expensive. As a result, proper infrastructure could not be developed in this area, leaving it significantly underdeveloped. Similarly, 100 kilometers away from Madrid is Sayaton, which was once populated, but now it is becoming a ghost town, and as of today, only 50 people live there. But the depopulation here is not only due to geography, but also due to a lack of infrastructure, and one more emerging problem, which is the low fertility rate. Spain is the only European country with the lowest fertility rate. In the past 5 years, there have been more deaths than births in Spain. The fertility rate in Spain has been continuously declining for the past 50 years, and the main reason is that the people are staying single, and majority of them are also unemployed. It takes these people so long to improve their financial situation that by the time they think of marriage, they are too old. In Spain, 10% of women give birth to their first child at the age of 40, and that is why the average birth rate in Spain is 1.19 per woman, meaning that on average, one Spanish woman only gives birth to one child. And according to data from the NIH, any country needs a birth rate of at least 2 children per woman to sustain its population. According to statistics, if Spain's birth rate does not reach birth rate of 2 by 2040, Spain will be a net negative population growth, and it will need at least 6 to 7 million immigrants to fill this population gap. So, a significant reason for this empty area is also the low birth rate, for which the Spanish government will have to provide benefits and grants to couples, and they will also have to provide better infrastructure in rural areas. Otherwise, this population pattern of Spain will worsen in the future because on one hand, new generation is not being born, and on the other hand, the generation that is alive is also turning towards other countries for a better quality of life. The mighty Spanish Empire, which once ruled 13% of the entire world, is now in a dire situation. These are all the sources we consulted for this video. We would request you again to please give your suggestions and feedback in the comments. Your comments not only motivate us, but also give us direction. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Take care.